All right, let the record show that the meeting for March 9th, 2021 has started at 7:05 p.m. We'll start with the approval of the minutes for February. Did everyone receive the copy or the email of the minutes?
Yes.
Received.
Any comments, concerns, questions? I bring a motion to approve the minutes for February 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anyone abstain? Let the record show that the meetings were approved for February 2021. We're going to go in executive action section of the agenda. We're going to go to the secretary, Kate, and we're going to discuss the website process as far as contacting us and what we have done to improve that process. Kate, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about this at our last meeting, but we are not like a normal town organization in that we are ongoing in perpetuity. We have a very compressed timeline and a very clear set of directives that we need to fulfill, i.e., the 16-month plan, which is we don't have 16 months to fulfill it anymore. And so working with people or, communities or organizations, community organizations, people from the community that are interested in helping us with the plan. What we've wanted to do is had people email us kind of what they're interested in working on and describe what aspect of the plan they're interested in supporting. And we realized there was some confusion about that because normally with town committees, the way it works is you get on the agenda and kind of talk about what you can do and present. And then after that, the work proceeds. Hoping to, kind of condense that process, but also really, make it as direct as possible so that interested people could express what they were, what aspect of the plan they wanted to support, how they could do it, and then to funnel them to the right people on the committee. We have created a form on our website that rather than just sending an email, people can fill out a form that we collect all their contact information, the names of their organization, and then we laid out, they can check a box, what part of the initiatives do they want to discuss or assist, and they can choose multiple ones if there's multiple ones, and then describe, how their business or you or your organization might contribute, and then ask them if they're interested in being added to the public comment section or if they have any other questions. We have worked with multiple organizations who have reached out to us via email. We work with them this way, but we realized it really wasn't transparent. A lot of the way that we were kind of filtering people through was happening behind the scenes. And so to really increase our transparency and make sure that everybody understands up front that we want to know what aspect of the plan they can support, not just generally equity in general, but because the plan has these deliverables, what in particular they want to support, and how they want to work with us. And so far, John and I have seen, this has been pretty effective in quickly getting people, understanding what people want to bring to the table and then taking them to the right place. And
I can share the screen with you if you want to do a sample just to show everybody.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's on you, Kate.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So here we are. This is at the bottom of the page. It's a long scroll. And so at the end, you can see this We Want to Hear From You section that allows people who are interested in participating to fill in their information, check what part and multiple parts of the plan. They don't just have to check one, they can check multiple. They can briefly describe, how they might contribute, whether they're interested in being added to the public comment section, and then anything else. And so that gets sent to the Chestertown Unites Against Racism email. John gets it, and then we're able to direct that person to the right committee member that's working on that particular topic, or the organization or group that's working on that particular topic. Any questions about this? Comments in general? What do we think about this? Or is this a good solution?
Yes, I think the solution was the perfect solution, and I think it's been thoroughly explained 3 months straight, and I think we're just improving on that. We haven't had any issues since this has happened. We didn't have any issues before. Let me clear that up on record.
Vic, you were going to say something. What do you think?
Oh, I was going to say I think it's beautiful, and I love the positive statement, welcoming people to contribute ideas. I love it.
Yes.
Anybody else want to chime in, or no? Are we good? I'll stop sharing. So it's just, we're working differently than a normal, we're working a bit differently than the town of Chestertown works because of this particular directive. So we're really hoping that this makes it more intuitive and clear to people who were interested in participating, that it's going to be slightly different than a regular, getting on the agenda and that sort of thing. But of course, we're not against having agenda participation. And, we're really, the more hands we can have helping with this project, the better. And our job is to present as many options as possible to the town that seem aligned with the plan. So hopefully this will make it easier and smoother for anybody that is interested in working with us. That's our hope.
Good turnaround time with you, Kate, and Jen actually coming up with that and turning it around. That's a quick turnaround time. So good job with that and finding a solution for that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was really, Francoise, I give her a lot of credit. She was very responsive. And once we just kind of described what we wanted, she made it happen immediately. So.
Yes. Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
You got to throw it back to me.
Oh, sorry. How do I do that?
Click on the icon at the top right beside mute and then click on make host. Did everybody enjoy that weather today? See, you got to learn how to plug it in. Today was a great day. Did we enjoy the weather?
Absolutely.
I sure did.
Yep.
I did too. I hope it stays. It probably won't.
Couple more days.
Yes, we at least gonna get 2 to 3 more days.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Quickly on the updates. The Black Churches Part 2 was released in February. And that serves the education pillar of the video series. Like Part 2, great responses. I'm pretty sure, I know everyone here had a chance to see it. Any thoughts, comments, concerns about the video? Bishop Fisher.
Unmute.
Got.
Thank you for that. The ones that participated in preparing the video did an excellent job. The line of questions and the preparation that they put into it was awesome. I thought it was a great presentation and a great reflection of the African American churches.
One more time, let everybody know, what's your church again, Bishop?
I'm so sorry. Faith Life Church in Chestertown on the corner of Calvin and Lynchburg Street. And we've been there since 1963.
Thank you. Any other comments, concerns about the Black churches? Hopefully we'll build on that. And I give a lot of credit to Gordon Wallace. We've been working with him on these two-part series. We're going to work with him on a few things in the future as well. So look out for some of those things. Community dialogue, second installment of that. The first one is still in the editing process. But part 2 is scheduled for April with Washington College students. And what we're going to wind up doing is building on the first part as far as building a bridge between students and community, and then solutions to students and their problems. They're real big on that part of it. So we're going to continue on with part 2. and build on that as well. So what we have now is a special presentation from our guest today, Phil Dutton of the James Taylor Justice Coalition. And what I want to do is give him the floor for his presentation. Now, his presentation is in the education pillar of the town plan under the lynching project. They've been doing great work for, is it fair to say 2 years already, Phil, or that's too much?
June of 2019.
Yes, they've been doing great work for almost about 2 years now. And we here feel like it's important to make sure that their voice is heard, that educational dynamic of what happened with lynchings across the Eastern Shore, and more specifically James Taylor, is a great educational tool that the community needs to hear. So Phil Dutton, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, John, and thanks to the committee for having me tonight. Who knows, who here is aware of the story of the lynching of James Taylor? Okay, a few of you are. I'll briefly tell you about it. In May the 15th, 1892, a young woman was raped in Kennedyville in her family farm. The next day, she accused James Taylor of that. And the next day he was taken into custody and taken to the Chestertown jail. The sheriff heard that there were rumblings of a lynching. So he took Mr. Taylor and another prisoner who was there in the jail as well, put him on the Gracie, a tugboat, and sent him down the river for safe protection. The county commissioners the next day decided that they didn't want to fund the protection of Mr. Taylor anymore. So the sheriff had to bring him back and put him in the jail. That afternoon, a group of the lynching group met with town officials. Now, we don't know who they were, but the story is they met with town officials on one of the hotels on Spring Street. There were 2 hotels there at the time. I'm not sure which one it was. The town officials didn't say, don't lynch James Taylor. They said, don't do it in town. So the town officials were basically in cahoots, as were the county commissioners, with what happened. That night, about 500 or 600 people showed up on the courthouse lawn. The jail was right next to the courthouse, sort of where the parking lot is on the side now. And they stormed the jail. They took sledgehammers and broke into the cell and took him out and took him across the street. And I guess because there were so many people there, they didn't feel like they could take him out of town. So they took him across the street and they hung Mr. Taylor from a small maple tree. If you know that driveway that goes behind the Park Row houses, there's a cherry tree now on the left. That's just about exactly where the site was that this occurred. And again, there were 500 people there witnessing that. There was an inquest the next day. They determined that Mr. Taylor was lynched and that nobody knew who did it. That was the end of that story. Not one person was accused, even though they met with individuals. And that's the case with all 4,000 lynchings that occurred in the United States. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. I've got a PowerPoint presentation. It's only, let's see, only 50 or 60 slides, so you don't have to worry.
The floor is yours.
I'm trying to get it open. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Ooh.
Trying to make a slideshow out of it. There we go. Okay. So this is who we are, the James Taylor Justice Coalition. We are part of Sumner Hall, just like Legacy Day or Juneteenth are, sponsored by Sumner Hall. And I'll tell you how that came about a little bit later. But the Equal Justice Institute was founded by Brian Stevenson, who is from Milton, Delaware. When he left Harvard Law School, he went to Montgomery and started representing prisoners who were on death row across the country and wrongfully incarcerated. He started getting them out, many of them out. He's the author of the book Just Mercy, as you may know. And his organization, EJI, founded the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, and also the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, which is known as the Lynching Museum or Lynching Memorial. The book that these folks are holding, these black and white books with the red lettering, that is a report or a publication called Lynching in America. And in that report, EJI documents 4,000 racial terror lynchings that happened in the United States between 1877 and 1950. And Mr. Taylor's lynching is documented in there as one of 40 lynchings that occurred in Maryland during that time. EJI subsequently published another report just recently that documents 2,000 additional lynchings that occurred between 1865, the end of the war, and 1877, the end of Reconstruction. This is basically EJI's statement about the community remembrance projects, and I'll just give you a few seconds to read through that. So essentially, what EJI is saying is that since the end of the Civil War and lynching, there's been a direct line of racial terror in this country from there to Jim Crow, to black codes, to mass incarceration, and right up to now to police brutality. And that without going back to the beginning where it all started and accepting that and addressing it, we cannot solve the problems that we're having today. So that's essentially what it's about. So again, we are part of Sumner Hall. I wanted to reiterate that again. And as you see on the bottom, only by telling the unvarnished truth about our past can we begin to address the injustices that continue against Black and brown people in the United States today. So as you know, the town, well, you're part of it. You know, the Chestertown Unites Against Racism, they passed that. And I think what we're doing is in line with that. The town council approved to join our coalition at their last meeting. And we're very happy about that endorsement.
Well deserved.
Thank you very much. So how did this all get started? Basically in the spring of 2019, Peggy Christie, who I believe is on this call, gave me a copy of Harvard Magazine, and the cover story was about Brian Stevenson. And I read that article and was really captivated by him and his mission. And we were just planning a trip down to New Orleans, and I decided to reroute ourselves through Montgomery and go to the museum and the memorial. And that was really, it just impressed me so much and had a great impact on me. I encourage you all, if you ever get to Montgomery, to do that. But that's what got me into this. I came back, I called Peggy, I said, Peggy, this is something I want to start working on. We talked to Sumner Hall and got a group of people together, and we've been meeting since then, working toward community remembrance projects. Also, what happened in January of 2019, the state passed a law which created the Maryland Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This was a unanimous vote by our delegates in Annapolis, and you know, not too many things passed unanimously there, but this was a unanimous vote that created the commission, and their charter is to look into the lynchings, the 40 lynchings that occurred in Maryland, and come up with reconciliation recommendations. We have affiliated with them as well, and part of their process is to hold hearings in all around the state, and they will have a hearing in Chestertown in February of 2022. We will be their local liaison there. We'll help get that started, but the commission will come here and they will conduct history, and we're combined with Caroline County and Queen Anne's because they don't have coalitions like ours. So our 3 counties will be lumped together. This is the memorial wall at the museum in Montgomery. And each of these jars bears the name, the location, and this date of the person who was identified by EJI to have been extrajudicially lynched. The contents of each jar is soil collected from the site where that lynching took place. The JTJC and Sumner Hall are planning a soil collection ceremony for later in this year, hopefully. And our intention is to have one of these jars go down to Montgomery with James Taylor's name on it, and another jar will be on permanent display at Sumner Hall. The idea is that, you know, it's not whether these individuals were guilty or innocent, but it's the fact that they did not receive the justice that our Constitution and our system stipulates for our citizens. EJI has developed a very extensive process. They have guidelines that we follow, and we have that information, and we've been working with them. They also support us in the whole process of these community remembrance projects. This is Brian Stevenson, and this is in front of the memorial. I'm going pretty quick through these, so hopefully not too quickly. The real mission of the community remembrance projects is educating and engaging the community in the subject of injustice, and how we can reconcile what's happened in the past and figure out how we can overcome that and move forward in our society. So we have created an education and engagement committee that's working on that right now. Our primary objective then is to educate and engage the public. Also, EJI sponsors an essay contest. They contribute $5,000 in prize money. And Ruth Shogay is leading our essay contest committee. They will be we'll be launching that in May. That contest, it will run in the fall, and we're hoping to create an art contest as well, and come up with some funding for prizes for an art contest as well. These are winners of one of the essay contests down in Tennessee. This young lady on the left here in the blue dress is Bree Lambkin. She is one of our contacts. She and Elliot Spillers have been involved with all of the coalitions in Maryland. So they know Maryland, they know about the commission, the state commission, and they will be helping us as we move forward. There was one lynching in Delaware. When we came back from Louisiana and Montgomery, we learned about this young woman, Savannah Shepard. She was 16 years old at the time, and she is a distant cousin of Brian Stevenson's. And she went down to the grand opening and the dedication of the memorial. She came back to Delaware and started a community remembrance project. And that summer, Vic Pfeiffer there on the left, my wife Linda and I went up for that unveiling of this memorial marker and for a soil collection. Savannah has offered to address us on May 15th this year at an event we're planning. Some of the soil collections are very private. You know, family members, descendants will go and collect the soil and send it in. Others are public events and trying to represent to the community and teach the community about what happened and draw some attention to that. EJI requires that we accept their values and live by them. These are their values: inclusion, respect, collaboration, transparency, and accountability. I won't go through all of that because I know our time is. As I said before, we have an education engagement committee. We also have the essay contest committee, and the town, as I said before, joined the coalition. John says I don't have to get the EAC to join the coalition because you're part of the town and part of it as well.
But we fully support this, though. The EAC fully supports this.
Yes, thank you very much. If you're interested in doing anything, volunteering, being a part of it, you can certainly email me or get in contact with me. Sibel Jones is leading the Education Outreach Committee. She is an amazing woman and has been consulting internationally for museums. She actually created this presentation for me. I didn't even have to ask. It showed up on my desk one day. She is very talented and knows a lot about these kinds of effects. She's been involved with other justice museums and Holocaust museums and other things. So really great to have her. And then, as I said, Ruth is leading the essay contest. So upcoming events. April 17th, we're going to have a showing of True Justice, the film about Brian Stevenson's fight for equality. We're planning a May 15th event. That's a Sunday, on a Sunday afternoon, the closest weekend day to the May 17th anniversary of Mr. Taylor's death. I termed it Justice Day. We haven't decided on that yet, but we will have a virtual event and kick off the essay program. And then on the courthouse lawn, as you know, John's going to be reading that book, and we're supporting that, and we'll be participating in that as well. Sherry Lynn Eiffel hopefully will be joining us on May the 15th, which would be really exciting. She and Savannah Shepard show up that day and talk. I'll be so happy. This again is the Wilmington event for the unveiling of this marker. These are our current partners, folks, the organizations who have joined our coalition. We have a coalition agreement that we send to organizations and have them just say, yeah, we join your coalition. If you know of any that would like to consider that, I would be happy to send you the coalition agreement. With that, I will answer any questions.
Thank you, Phil.
Good.
My pleasure.